Welcome to episode 90 of Beyond Social Media Show, the podcast for marketing, advertising, public relations, and communications professionals. We are recording live on Google Hangouts on Air, April 4, 2015. This week's stories, we got a lot of stories to talk about. In the worst category, HBO got smeared online. Trevor Noah, the new host of The Daily Show, had some stupid tweets that he had to defend himself against. And best, we have some social media crisis courses you'll want to know about. Hello Barbie is in the news. Groupon sexy banana bunker. Chris Rock driving while black. And some clever photography tips. We've got some shiny new stuff, the Chrome stick and Facebook's new video app, and we'll wrap it up with some statistics about time-shifting TV. My name is David Erickson. I'm your co-host. You can find me at DErickson on Twitter. I am the VP of Online Marketing for Kowalski & Courage. I'm with, of course, my co-host, BL Ochman. You can find BL at What's Next on Twitter. She is the CEO of Maximum-Plus.com for all things Google+, and she writes for Ad Age. You can find the show on BeyondSocialMediaShow.com. We're on Twitter at BS Media Show. You can subscribe to our email newsletter. You want to get that every week. You get a notification of when the show is live on the blog, links to all the stuff that we talked about, and some exclusive content we share only in the newsletter. You can find that at BeyondSocialMediaShow.com/newsletter. We started off with the worst. BL, you always have the honors. Tell us about the HBO smear campaign.
Good morning, Dave. Good morning, guys. Just so you know, comment tracker's working, so we can look at your comments and questions during the show and do our best to answer them. So HBO got smeared by the Church of Scientology when their campaign against Going Clear, which they launched on Twitter, backfired. And this is a story from Digiday by Lucia Moses. And the Church of Scientology used promoted tweets from the not from the Church of Scientology, but from the handle @FreedomEthics, and they used Google search ads to try and trash Alex Gibney's HBO documentary on Going Clear. However, it backfired, and so there were tweets that said things like, Twitter is selling promoted tweets to cults. And so the Church of Scientology switched gears, and they said, don't watch the show because it's boring. And they started featuring photos of people who'd fallen asleep in movie theaters, except this wasn't playing in movie theaters. It was playing in your living room. And they even took out a full-page ad in the New York Times to discredit the documentary. And again, that technique backfired. And Rebecca Keegan said on Twitter, getting bombarded by Freedom Ethics promoted tweets trashing @Alex Gibney Films Scientology movie, which only makes me want to see it more.
Yeah, well, if you watch the documentary, this is sort of par for the course, right?
Well, I don't have HBO because I don't have that, but I would have watched it if I did.
I did watch it. It was fascinating, a fascinating look at it. So I didn't fall asleep in my theater, in my home theater. So no, it was pretty fascinating. So yeah, it's pretty. And they go through in the documentary. They talk about their media campaigns and stuff like this. So if you had seen the show, this wouldn't be a surprise.
Yes, I have read a couple of books about them, and they're pretty interesting.
Yeah. So in worst, I've got a worst story here. Trevor Noah, the new host of The Daily Show, got into hot water. He was announced that he was going to be the new host after Jon Stewart leaves, and of course the internet went to work and dug through his Twitter feed and found a bunch of tweets that were less than honorable, let's say. This is from a Washington Post article by Caitlin Dewey. The title of the article is "In Defense of Trevor Noah's Stupid, Tasteless Tweets." So he had she counted them, 6 tweets out of 8,904 that he'd tweeted, using ethnic humor, some sexist jokes. But she put a percentage on it. 0.067% of the tweets were tasteless, basically. She, in the article, I'm going to quote what her main point here. He's concerned about apartheid and social justice, subverting prejudice through and past wrongs through jokes. He's tweeted frequently and thoughtfully about privilege and power and how comedy fits into the two. This story struck me because it's sort of the outrage industry has gone just way overboard, especially on Twitter. Citing individual tweets without considering the person who's tweeting them, their entire context, is by definition quoting them out of context. And what often happens is people see something outrageous and they forward it on without even looking at the original source of the article. So I just think we need to be more forgiving. We need to, you need to consider what you say online, but we need to take a ton of stuff that we say on this podcast out of context and frame it as looking really bad. And I've said that when you're thinking and you're just speaking spontaneously, you often say things that you don't mean. So I just think it's too much outrage.
Well, I agree about the need to think about what you say. And in fact, I took a course from Howard Rheingold on crap detection. And one of the things that he talked about, he teaches at Stanford, and he is one of the most impressive fathers of the internet. He named crowdsourcing, for example, and he tells it like it is, and he's a scholar. And he talked about how you need to vet everything that you see online with 3 different sources to make sure that it's a valid thing. And people don't do that. I mean, I'm sure you have friends who send you crap that they should have looked at Snopes before they passed on, about how to prevent whatever and new cures for this, and completely ridiculous things. And people take what they see and they just pass it on because it's so easy, it's so easy, it's so easy. So, but he shouldn't have said the things that he said. So, I think the jury's going to be out on whether that's going to hurt him long term. I'm not sure.
It is. I think, I'm guilty of passing along stuff that I haven't looked at. It's a headline and it looks interesting, and I sort of trust the source, and so I'll pass it on and not even have looked at it. So I've done that before. I think it's
doing
important,
that,
though. It's important, though, in these moments of crisis that we not do that we take a moment and pass and look and consider it before we do it. Obviously, you need to think about what you tweet, but he's a comedian too, and a comedian's role is in part to say things that other people don't say, right? So, I don't know. I just think people reflexively express their outrage without really considering what they're outraged about.
Well, and the scary part is when it turns into a mob, and that happens very quickly. We talked about that this week on Ray Hills' show, because that is something that really shouldn't be allowed to continue. But I think that's all our bad news, and now we're on to better news, right?
Yeah, what do you got?
Well, I think this is very interesting. This was in The Verge. It was a story by Casey Newton, and it's about a company called Palpio that does social media crisis simulations for brands to help them respond to a real crisis. And I've actually done that for brands without having this sophisticated software that they have, and they give them immersive role-playing situations so that their teams learn how to handle a crisis on social media. And they have software that simulates social media channels, microblogs, social networks, news channels, and their social media managers play the role of the public and respond to what your team is doing to manage a crisis. And as we discuss here every week, teams need that kind of help.
Yeah, it's a fascinating. And there's another company, public relations or advertising firm, that has a similar type of software that simulates a crisis. I can't remember off the top of my head who it is.
I know what you mean, and I can't remember it either. But I've done it without the software. I mean, you can do the role playing. Obviously, more effective if you had something that looked like social media.
Yeah.
So give us one of yours, Dave.
So this is interesting. This is fascinating. Hello Barbie is a new Barbie doll that is going to be coming out. It's Wi-Fi enabled, and it has voice recognition technology. So we've had talking babies before back in the day. You pulled the string on the doll and it said a couple of things, right? This one, actually, you can hold conversations with. This is from a New York Times article by Natasha Singer, and I got to give a shout out to my friend Lisa Grimm, who I found it from. So Toy Talk is the company that developed this software The voice recognition software, founded in 2011 to create conversational apps for children. So the apps are The Winston Show and Speak-a-Zoo, and they're designed to encourage young children to have complex conversations with make-believe characters. So Mattel is partnering with them to use their technology and put it into this Hello Barbie doll. It's a first interactive Barbie doll. It will have a huge backstory, so children will be able to hold conversations with it for hours and hours. It remembers responses, and it personalizes so it's a personalized doll. And there's a privacy process. Obviously, that's going to be a huge red flag for anyone, parents in particular. Before a child under 13 can use the conversation features of the app, the parent has to give permission and confirm it via email. Children must press a microphone button on the doll, and so it works like a walkie-talkie sort of. So it's not listening all the time, right? It's only
that would be scary
be activated
if it was listening all the time.
And parents have access to their children's recorded conversations, and they can delete them if they want. I don't remember. I was trying to remember whether we talked about this on a previous show, but there was a nonprofit who was helping low-income neighborhoods help their children develop a vocabulary by having a device that basically listened all the time and reported back to the parent how many words their children were talking about, and the more words you talk about, the more likely you're going to get to college, basically. So it's encouraging parents to have discussions with their children. This seems to me sort of along those lines, where it can help develop the vocabulary of children. So it's just a fascinating new development, I thought.
I want one. So Scott Scowcroft says that that outrage industry that you used to describe the mob mentality on the internet is a great term, and I agree. And he says, I can't read the whole thing because it's long, but I can't show the whole thing, but by the same token, he says a single inappropriate comment in real life can get you in a ton of trouble too, even without the outraged industry. Well, yeah, I guess that's true, but it's magnified here so much. So this week, Groupon had some fun with a sexy toy called the Banana Bunker. And I read about this in Adweek with Rue Cambrello. And it turns out that they had planned the whole campaign. It was a Groupon that they have every once in a while. It's a plastic container that's meant to hold a banana, because when you throw them in your bag, they tend to get mushed up. And I don't know about you, but I don't like my bananas with bruises on them. So
mushy bananas are awful.
horrible things. So they have this plastic container, and you put your banana in it, and it became their most popular Facebook content ever, with more than almost 13,000 comments and almost 20,000 likes and almost 50,000 shares. And then Groupon said that they had planned the post, and they had 5 people ready to handle the responses, and they answered about 200 of them. And then Adweek caught up with Bill Roberts, who's the head of global communications, and he told them that they expected it. But some of the things that were said on the site were, somebody asked, do they come with bananicidal lube? And the Groupon answers, why would you want to commit bananicide, monster? And this is there someone you should contact if your banana stays bunked for more than 4 hours? Nope, just put yourself on the back. You're loyal and protective toward bananas, and it shows. And then another one, any plans for a zucchini zipper? And Groupon said, never say never, Molly.
That's awesome.
I just love that. Go ahead, Dave.
Yeah, well, I don't have a funny one. This is a more somber one. Chris Rock. I guess there's a funny aspect to it. He's a comedian, but he's been documenting his instances of getting pulled over by the cops. So this comes from a Business Insider article by Carolyn Moss. And he's been posting photos to Who Say whenever he gets pulled over by the cops, which has been 3 times so far. Rock, of course, has a skit called "How to Not Get Your Ass Kicked by the Police." So he uses his humor to talk about racial profiling and everything, and clearly making a point about racial profiling by posting these photos. And if you look at the photos, it's basically a photo of him with the sirens in the back or the cop car in the back while he's sitting in his car. But, he's sort of also providing documentation in case something happens. One photo was retweeted 3,650 times. I just thought it was a very clever way of bringing attention to that issue by somebody who's got a huge audience, obviously.
Yeah, he said in one of them, "I'm getting stopped by the cops. Wish me luck." And I think it was very brave of him to actually be filming the thing. And I wouldn't be the least bit surprised if it happens 100 more times. I mean, he was guilty of driving while black, and that was it. I have a much happy one. This one just kills me. This is actually done by the most unglamorous product there is. I mean, what is more unglamorous than Fix-A-Dent? The stuff you use to hold your dentures in. And this is an article by Tim Nudd, and this is about Keith Richardson's Wildlife Sanctuary, something that we've talked about before, and I've featured it on Paw Fun. He actually did an ad wearing suits, I forget the brand, where he was rolling around with the lions in these suits. It was a wonderful video. And this time he's with a lion, a 9-year-old white lion, very rare kind of lion. Most of them are browner. And the lion's name is Aslan, and he's lost many of his teeth prematurely, and he's in pain. And if you've ever had a toothache, that's no fun. And, for a lion in the wild, where's he going to go? So Richardson got an animal dentist whose name was Gerhard Steenkamp, and Fix-A-Dent got involved and sponsored it. And then they got the director, Sven Harding, to film it, and they gave the lion his bite back. He needed a root canal and work on 6 rotted teeth, and he was under anesthesia for 6 hours, which is a very big deal for an animal. And only at the end of this video, which is a supremely emotional and beautiful thing, only at 5 minutes and 23 seconds in a 5-minute 47-second video do you see the message from Fix-A-Dent that says, "Giving back the bite to those who've lost it is what we do every day for every denture and partial wearer." It makes you love them.
That's fantastic.
You think about them. Who ever thought about Fix-A-Dent before?
Yeah. And it sure sounds like this is a target opportunity they seized on, right? They probably heard about this story and said, "Oh my God, let's approach these people who are in charge of this line or whatever, and create an opportunity out of it." And it's a great.
Well, P&G owns Fix-A-Dent, so it's a brand that has a huge marketing machine already. But how clever of them to wait until the end to do it. Not even brought to you by Fix-A-Dent. Find it till the end, and you will watch till the end because they bring the lion back to the wild, and the last line of the video is, "The king is back."
It's a great story.
It's a wonderful story. Y'all got to watch it.
Yeah. So I got a quick one. This is very cool. I came across this this video on Facebook, and it's by Art Fido, and it's a video showing 10 basic photographic composition tips. And the way that they do it, I mean, I've watched a bunch of videos on composition tips, and it's usually photographer talking about the composition tips. Well, the way they've done it is taken example photographs and overlaid animated grid lines to illustrate what they're talking about. So when they talk about the rule of thirds in photography, they've got actual animated grid lines over an example photograph showing, demonstrating the rule of thirds. So it's just a brilliant way to teach the composition. We'll share the video in the show notes.
Oh, I want to take a look at that. So I was looking at the best brand social media pranks, and there were a lot of them that were really great. But my favorite was, well, I had 2 favorites, but this was one of them. Miller Theater at Columbia University did a video about their Music for dogs. And they said, you know, we've tried so hard to bring our music to so many different kinds of audiences, and we're now embracing an entire new sonic palette that works by and for dogs. And it's the perfect series for New Yorkers and their puppies who love innovative music and who want to stay on the cutting edge of the arts. And there's a cute little dog in there who plays the piano by running up and down the keyboard, and they play music that goes along with it. And they say, and they're totally serious video. You know, dogs can hear things that we can't hear, and we're trying to accommodate their ability to hear and their rhythm, which is built in. And the whole theater is filled with dogs, which is just, it was wonderful. That and T-Mobile's $5 a month plan for adding your pet to your with cell phones for pets. So that takes us to shiny new stuff. And Google is going great guns. I mean, they are so innovative, and they introduced Chromebook on a stick. And if you have a Chromecast or any of the things that are on a stick, the entire Chromebook computer, which is going to be made by Asus, is on a stick, and it connects to any monitor through an HDMI port. And it doesn't have an exact price yet, but Google says it'll cost less than $100, and it's coming out this summer. 2 gigs of RAM, 16 gigs of storage, and a USB port, and it connects to other peripherals via Bluetooth, and it comes in great colors. And they also introduced this bendy laptop and tablet hybrid that when you flip it over, on one side it's a laptop and on the other side it's a tablet, and that's going to be available soon, and it's going to be like $250. And the Haler Chromebook 11E, which is for kids, it's ruggedized, so if they drop it or they throw it around or whatever, it's spill resistant. And you know, I've long thought that there should be computer equipment and desks made for kids, because they're going to get hurt using mice and keyboards that are made for adult hands. So I was really happy to see that one.
Very cool, very cool. I've been thinking about it. I think I'm this close to buying a Chromebook.
Me
just
too.
keep hearing good things about them. So.
Yep, me too. $150, you can't lose.
Exactly. I mean, so my shiny new object is called Riff. Riff is Facebook's new collaborative video app. This I found from a TechCrunch article by Josh Constantine. It's basically you just record 20, it's a sort of Vine-ish, you record 20-second videos, but the idea is to share it with your friends on Facebook and ask a question that they will then respond to. So it's a collaborative video. So you post a question, your friends respond with a video of their own, and you can stitch together all these responses into one whole video. The original creator of the video can delete things, so if some of your friends are not very not very creative or whatever, you can delete their clips and not include that. It's available on both iOS and Android, and I tried it out. It works easily. So it's a very simple app, but I thought a clever idea and a way for Facebook to try and get more people to post more video, because they're all about video these days.
Everything's all about video these days, and if you're not using it in your marketing, you're really missing a content creation tool that you need to learn about. You can't ignore video anymore. Yeah. So we've got a new a channel for BS the show. BS Media. Beyond Social Media show is on Facebook now. So you can find us at facebook.com/Beyond Social Media show. I just pressed the publish button just before the show, so we are friendless right now. Come and friend us. We need friends. Please friend us.
So we will post articles there, and we'll post some video, I'm sure, of the episode. So look for that, and another channel. Let's wrap this up. Daily numbers. Top 7 reasons for time shifting. I don't think I'll go through all 7, but time shifting TV. So this is the top reasons people time shift TV. Watch when convenient, obviously, is the top, cited by 60% of those surveyed. See missed episodes of television, 37% said that. To skip the ads, 37% said that. You can pause or rewind, 34% that said that. Takes less time to watch, 33% said that. Not available during live airing, 29% said that. Can watch back-to-back, 19% said that. I cite these simply to reinforce the fact that people want on-demand content. And in the age when we're all talking, last week we talked about, the week before we talked about Meerkat and Periscope, a little skeptical about the sort of appointment nature of that, especially with Meerkat, where it's not automatically uploading your video for later viewing. So
well, but you're
keep
able
those
to
things
save
in
them
mind.
to your phone, actually, the Meerkat.
Yeah, you can record it to your phone, but yeah.
But you know what's come up in conversations I've had this week is the privacy issues with Meerkat and Periscope, and the fact that people are without permission broadcasting from paid events, and there are going to be problems with that. So
Yeah,
stay
we'll see how
tuned.
that shakes out. I think there's a lot of opportunity there, but there's also a lot of things you need to think through. So.
Yeah, so that brings us to the end of episode 90 of the Beyond Social Media Show. And links to all the shows, this one, and links from all the shows, and videos of all the shows, and the playlists of all the shows are on BeyondSocialMediaShow.com. And we would love you to tell us what you think about the show by leaving us a review there at BeyondSocialMediaShow.com/love. And David Erickson, you can find on Twitter as @DErickson. He blogs at eStrategyBlog.com and CreativePR.com/blog. I am BL Achman. I'm at What's Next on Twitter. My blog is whatsnextblog.com. I also blog at pawfun.com. My company is maximum-plus.com for online events and Google Plus training. And you'll find the show online at BeyondSocialMediaShow.com, plus Beyond Social Media Show on Google Plus, on Twitter at BS Media Show. And you can subscribe to our newsletter, which I think you're going to like a lot, at BeyondSocialMediaShow.com/newsletter. And you also can find us on iTunes and Stitcher. And we would appreciate very much if you would leave us a review there. So we'll be back next week, same time, same station, and we will timestamp the videos so that you can go directly to any segment of this episode, and we will also have the links on our blog before the end of the weekend. Thanks for watching.
Thanks for watching.